So some of the beans are looking pretty good. These are the 2 dragon's tongues. The first ones here, they're looking okay, looking pretty good. And then there's some more 4 lima beans here, and some of those are even climbing up the string, the twine that I hung down from the top. So that's good. And then 2 more of the original lima beans that we put in. Those are doing really well. Those are climbing pretty good distance up the pole that I put in. And then the dragon's tongue, the original dragon's tongue, and then the 2 that I planted at the same time as the ones on the other end are not looking good at all, and I have nothing to chalk that up to except for the soil. The soil there is just terrible. I believe this is the caterpillar of the Isabella tiger moth. I didn't know that already, I looked it up. But while I was looking it up, he disappeared. I have no idea where the caterpillar went. I was gonna film him a little bit more, but I genuinely I cannot find him anywhere. I have no clue where he went. That's really weird. How does a caterpillar disappear? It's bizarre. Anyway, the cucumber plants are doing pretty good. They look healthy, especially the growth up at the top looks pretty nice. I've had a couple of squash beetles that every morning I come out and I find one and I get rid of it, but they just don't go away. It's ridiculous. Mainly I just want to prevent them from breeding and causing a whole bunch of damage. So, but yeah, the cucumber plants are looking pretty good. There's lots of blooms, and here's a bee even on one of the flowers. The okra is still producing, but definitely slowing down and giving me quite a few more of these curled fruits than they do at like their peak. You know, when they're really healthy at the peak, they really just give you pretty straight okra pods. But when they get a little older, they start doing this. So still quite a few that are growing, and some of the plants are even officially taller than me. So over 6 feet tall okra plants, which makes it quite easy to pick. In the beginning of the season, it can be kind of difficult to get in under there and find all the pods that are growing, but cutting the leaves off helps with that. But then once they're this tall, it's kind of like pretty easy. Okay, I'm headed to check on the compost. I haven't put shoes on yet, so I'm not gonna do any work right now, but I do want to check and see how hot the compost is, and then also kind of figure out what I'm going to do with all this material. I was thinking about it probably while I was sleeping or something, or while I was going to sleep last night, about maybe I'm just going to make some piles of layers of green and then layers of brown. Green clippings and then the brown clippings from my neighbor's place back here. I really think that if I do that, it's going to make quite quite matted layers. But I mean, if I commit to just turning it regularly, then it should be fine. It's still gonna take a while to decompose, which is the whole point of me making more than just 2 piles. I would like to make several piles, several heaps, have them going all at the same time. Well, staggering them, which right now I have one that's almost done, one that's almost done, and then one that is almost complete in terms of how full it's going to be. And so, well, I guess that means I should finish that one. So I guess I'll definitely do that today. I'll put a bunch of browns in here and then some more of the greens that are right here. And then I'll maybe even pull that out today and kind of mix it around and then put it back in. And we'll call that one complete, ready to start decomposing. And then I can make another heap somewhere, or I can start another heap somewhere that I'll finish in. Maybe every day I'll come out and put a layer on or something. So it'll finish in a couple of weeks or so. That's not a very big stagger though. I don't know. I'm gonna have to really think about it. The compost is still over 120, so hasn't moved from yesterday. I don't think I'm going to turn that today. I think I'm going to turn it tomorrow, maybe. Just let that keep cooking. And I also need to do something with these Mexican sunflowers. They have completely blocked any passageway past this little part of the back here, because a big group of them fell in a storm, and the others are just huge and bushy. Some of those are like over 10 feet tall now. It's crazy. Yeah, this is getting hot. It's gonna be over 140 right now. I'm gonna try to aerate it a little bit, cool it down just a tad. Maybe. I'm really trying to mix this brown in, and then I'm gonna add another layer of brown. And then add a layer of green, and then a layer of brown, and then green, and then brown, and until it gets over this. I want it to be higher than this. I'll stack it, I'll pile it up like this, because that's all gonna decompress or compress down. So it's gonna be, I want it to be more material than this one when it's done. It's gonna make it, you know, harder to flip when I go to flip it, but that's just part of it, I guess. Nice layer of brown material. I'm gonna water it a little bit. It's a plastic bag. I'm gonna water it because this is nice and dry. And water and oxygen are two things that a compost pile needs. But the water is also gonna make this these grass clippings mad up, but I don't know what else to do. Okay, so now I'm gonna put some green material in here. I need to go get more water. I'm actually going to add another layer of brown, and then water it. So I'll water each brown layer. All right, to make this go a little faster, I don't know what that was focused on. To make this go a little faster, I'm going to get the wheelbarrow and take it over to the brown material, fill up the wheelbarrow, and then come bring the whole wheelbarrow back over here. All right, so I'm gonna stop here. Just maybe, I thought about it, and mainly I don't want it to like overflow into this one, since there's this huge open part here, because originally the plan was that I would move one to the other, but I don't even know if I'm gonna do that anymore. But I mean, I can't, there's a huge open spot right here now anyway, so. So what I plan to do with this one is just every day monitor the temperature, and when it gets to 160, or right before it gets to 160, I'm gonna have to flip it, because I don't want it to go over 160, because then that might kill all the good bacteria. So I gotta flip it every time it gets to 160. So if that means, I just got bit by an ant. So if that means that it gets to 160 every day after I flip it, then I'm gonna have to flip it every day. Eventually, you know, it shouldn't get that hot, but I think it definitely will, because there is so much green in here. In the future, I can probably put more browns, and that should help prevent it from getting quite as hot, I think, anyway. And, but yeah, that's the plan here. And then once it doesn't get to 160 anymore, then I'll do it like I've been doing this one right here, every other day or every 3 days or whatever. But flipping this is gonna be work, a lot more work than the current one. So that should be fun. Let's see what the temperature of it is currently. Yeah, it's over 140. It's over 140, which means I'm thinking now with this extra mass that I just added, tomorrow it'll probably be 160 degrees. So I don't know, we'll see. I might end up having to flip it tomorrow. That'll be work. That'll be quite a job. Oh, the stupid ant, man, bit me right in between my fingers. Now that these beans are nice and established, I would like to put bring some of the straw back around here. To prevent weeds, hopefully, and grass, and also help retain moisture right here underneath them. I already put straw around the ones further down, but I just forgot to do it right here. Oh, and by the way, I did order a long screwdriver to fix, to complete the repair of the chipper shredder. I think it should be here tomorrow. The screwdriver should be here tomorrow or Saturday, I believe. So I should be able to do that soon. You know, these cucumbers are doing pretty well. And we got a large cucumber harvest from the cucumbers that were here before these, earlier this season. And that's great, but I mean, they do okay going up the fence here, but I think I'm definitely going to change this next year, or next time, whenever the next time I grow cucumbers is, and do more of like a trellis type deal, like I have the beans on, and have a string that comes straight down, and just let them go up that string, and then over the top of the trellis, and then back down. That seems to be how people do it especially when they do it indoors. But I think I can make it work outside too. These two guys are running together, and I want them to be separated. And the big dude over here, I don't know how well you can see this. The big dude is above the fence now, and I need him to go to the left. He's trying to go to the right. So I'm gonna try to guide him over to the left. Well, I have a perfect example of why it is so good to keep ground covered. Here at the base of an okra plant, which, by the way, notice how thick this okra plant is. It's like almost like a tree. At the base of this okra plant, I've had these chips here for several weeks now, and I have not watered the okra plants for even longer than that. Once the okra plants were nice and established, I didn't water them at all, and then I definitely didn't even feel the need to at all once I put the chips down around them. And as you can see, the ground here underneath these chips is still nice and dark, which is an indication that it's damp. And it is. It's damp still, even though I haven't watered it in a long time. And over here, next to where I just covered those beans, where I just pulled the straw back on top of the beans, around the beans, there's some ground that is not covered, and you can see, I mean, it is like dusty and dry and just not good, you know? It's like, there's a perfect example right there, which is interesting because I was just watching some videos from the Old Alabama Gardener YouTube channel. It's this man who gardens in Alabama somewhere and does really well. I mean, he has a whole lot of things that he grows and they do really well, but his ground, for the most part, is not covered. Sorry, I had to get out of the sun. It's blinding me. His ground is not covered, and it is just like a dirt, it's like the Dust Bowl. It's just, you can see how dry it is. His plants seem to do well. I mean, they do okay, but I just can't help but think that if he had a cover over his ground, that they would do even better. because it just doesn't look even natural. It doesn't look normal. And it's not a knock against old Alabama gardener. He obviously knows way more than I do about gardening and has far more experience. But I just wonder what kind of difference it would make for his plants if he would just put a covering over them, over the ground. I don't know. It's interesting to think about.
The rain bucket, the rain barrel, not much.